And this is largely a shot at the entire fandom of the NFL. You prayed for the Chiefs' downfall, and what did that do? It brought you back to me a Thanos graphic. It's a shout out to Pat's Reddit. So it's basically like we're back to being the dynasty. That's a little bit too much, but good for the meme world. Here's what I'm saying.
You think it's too much to say you're back to being a dynasty before you've won a playoff game?
I'm not saying that yet.
I'm
not saying that yet.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the analogy I would make. Man, on a work site, the OSHA guy shows up. He's not saying there's accidents, then you call the hospital. He's just looking out for an environment where accidents can happen. I'm just saying, if there was an OSHA guy dedicated to football dynasties, he would write the Patriots up.
Okay, so that is, so I'll let you finish.
So I'll give you the right. We have the coach and the QB, which seems kind of easy to do. It's just two people. Until you go through the entire league, Jets, Dolphins, Bills, we were talking about McDermott getting fired, and you have that graphic. I don't have it, or not.
If a coach and quarterback don't win a Super Bowl within their first 5 years together, they've never won a Super Bowl.
Boom. So that also takes out
the Ravens.
The Steelers, the Bengals are going to fire their coach. The Browns have neither.
Right.
Titans, no. Texans, maybe. Colts, Jags, Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, yes, maybe. And Raiders are out. So amongst that group, there's just a handful of teams that have coach and quarterback, and none of the quarterbacks this year are playing like Drake May. So here's Drake May's passer rating above 125, most in teams' first 13 games. They're just sort of legendary seasons. I don't know, Lamar seems legendary, but it was a quality season.
That was a great.
Yeah, so he almost won MVP.
We're kind of. I'm not saying we are a dynasty. I'm just saying there's a lot of elements of dynasty that I would be nervous about if I wasn't a Patriot.
Okay, so this is. You said you thought there was going to be bad for the show because of the Chiefs graphic. That's not at all. I don't care about something dumb on Reddit.
It was a little sensitive right now.
I think the part that I react to on that is I think you are setting yourself what should be nothing but jubilation. Because I was going to say nothing but good things, and I still will. You forget the cart before the horse. You're 30 steps out in front. And maybe because you guys had the greatest dynasty in the history of football.
Yeah, dynasty's in our DNA.
But it's not. I
think you're a little.
It is. You are acting as if there is no bridge between Super Bowl contender, which you are, and Super Bowl champion, which you might be, and dynasty, of which there have been 5 in the history of pro football, and none simultaneous. And so now maybe the Chiefs are just done. Maybe it's, I'm not talking about this season. Maybe Mahomes and Reed are done. But it's also very often that we don't go consecutive dynasties. I've never once in my life following sports heard of a team discussed as a dynasty before it has played a single playoff game. And your OSHA stuff, all of that could apply to a bunch of teams right now. Like right now, that is not the dynasty pedigree, but it's what the Chargers feel. Like finally we got Herbert the right coach. We're 8-4. We're in great shape.
Dynasty's not in their DNA. Falling apart is in their DNA.
Okay, but again, I don't believe that the stadium or the jerseys have. I think Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, if either one of them were still there, even in a consultancy role, maybe I'd buy it more. But so I think sometimes we discuss whether we should talk about the game last night or look forward. Today we agreed we're going to look forward. I didn't know we were going to look forward 7 years.
You can sense the frustration emanating from Nick. It's actually a fascinating dynamic to observe. I'd like to examine this from a slightly meta perspective, using the show First Things First as a case study. While I've extensively discussed Drake May, and we'll touch on him again here, I also enjoy analyzing the mechanics of the show itself. Nick Wright has himself acknowledged, albeit in a somewhat tongue-in-cheek manner, that his professional trajectory and the show's prominence are inextricably linked to the success of the Kansas City Chiefs. He is exceptionally skilled at his craft and deserves every bit of his success, but his personal brand has undeniably skyrocketed because he is an unabashed mega Chiefs supporter who has quadrupled down on that allegiance. As the Chiefs kept winning, becoming the league's premier dynasty and most popular team, First Things First's relevance and ratings soared in tandem. Wildes himself admitted last season, prior to a playoff game against the Texans, that it would be terrible for our show if the Chiefs lost. This candid remark reveals the underlying reality. This symbiotic relationship grants Nick a certain gravitational pull within the show's ecosystem. I don't mean control in a negative, domineering sense, but rather in setting the agenda. When the Chiefs are the story, the natural inclination is to turn to Nick. Nick, what's your take on the Chiefs? This framework allows for the triumphant banner drops, the trolling of rivals like the Bills, and the deployment of all the theatrical props, the doorstep of destiny, the trumpeteers, and so forth. The show's identity has become partially fused with Chiefs-centric triumphalism. Now, consider a hypothetical scenario where the Chiefs begin to cede their throne. I'm not declaring this is happening, but let's suppose their dominance gradually fades. They remain a good team, but no longer the singular, overwhelming force. In that vacuum, if the New England Patriots emerge as the new standard bearers, the entire dynamic of the show shifts seismically. Wildes instantly becomes a far more central figure. Observe even this recent segment. He's the one delving into passer rating analytics, demanding specific graphics from Dusty, injecting that specific data-driven energy. His role transforms from primarily a facilitator or moderator, which is typically his function when Brew and Nick are engaged in their trademark debates, into a primary content driver with fully fleshed-out, substantiated arguments. Greg Olsen offers his analysis, Nick and Brew trade perspectives, and Wildes would traditionally interject with jokes or brief comments. He wasn't previously the one walking through symbolic doors and orchestrating elaborate, team-specific narrative arcs. If the Patriots solidify themselves as legitimate, Super Bowl-winning contenders, the show fundamentally changes. People are generally resistant to change. Speaking from my own experience on an incomparably smaller scale, consistency is the lifeblood of this type of content creation. It is infinitely easier when you can rely on certain teams being elite year after year. The Chiefs, Eagles, Bills, Ravens. Their sustained success provides a stable foundation for discussion. I invested heavily last season in promoting the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels. I was, and remain, a firm believer in Daniels and that franchise's potential. The fans who discovered my channel through that advocacy were incredibly supportive. You're the best, man. You really back the Commanders. This season, with the Commanders struggling and Daniels injured, that entire segment of my audience has naturally diminished. There's only so much I can currently say about them. This impacts the channel not just in terms of a topic I'm passionate about, but also in terms of audience engagement and growth. When your chosen team isn't winning, the fans are less inclined to seek out related content. It alters the landscape. Now imagine if the Jacksonville Jaguars suddenly became the AFC's best team. The show would face an awkward transition. As Wildes implied, what do you do with that fan base? How do you pivot? That's why he stated it would be detrimental for the show if the Chiefs were eliminated early. It genuinely would be. The show is structured to double and quadruple down on established popular narratives. I don't blame them for this approach. Colin Cowherd has been transparent about this for years. He discusses what drives ratings and viewer interest. He talks about the Dallas Cowboys because people want to hear about the Cowboys. I respect that honesty. He's catering to the market. This is precisely why I previously appealed to Patriots fans to engage with my content, to subscribe, to watch full videos. I want to discuss the Patriots, but I'm not at a size where I can sustainably produce videos only a handful of people will watch. More importantly, I want to create content that sparks the conversations people are eager to have. It's not a superficial chase for views. It's about fostering discussion. Yet, I also understand the show's perspective. Yesterday on First Things First, there were what felt like 8 consecutive Chiefs-centric segments. Part of me thinks, what about the Denver Broncos? What about all these other compelling stories? But if the data and the comments show that Chiefs content is what drives engagement, I can't fault them for following that energy. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, I produced a multitude of Eagles videos. People asked, why so many Eagles videos? The answer was simple. Because they were champions. That's the story. If the Patriots win the Super Bowl this year, You can be certain I will be producing Patriots content throughout the following offseason. That's the natural cycle. We discuss what captivates the audience. Witnessing Nick's visible irritation and Wilds' burgeoning excitement, though he may be getting ahead of himself, provides a compelling preview of how the show's chemistry would evolve if the Patriots' ascent continues. Wilds would inevitably become a much more focal point. Imagine if the Baltimore Ravens, Bru's adopted team, complete with the robe and sandwich-making shtick, entered a sustained dynasty phase. The show's emphasis would pivot dramatically toward Bro. A genuine, lasting Chiefs-Ravens rivalry would create a fantastic head-to-head dynamic for the panel. But the Ravens haven't quite broken through in that manner. Presently, it feels like the Patriots and Drake May possess that capability. Surveying the league's landscape, even formidable NFC teams like the Los Angeles Rams, with their great coach and quarterback, face a finite timeline with Matthew Stafford. In the AFC, the Patriots aren't playing catch-up to many. They aren't chasing the Broncos, the Bills, or the Ravens, teams that currently appear to be receding. They are certainly ahead of the Raiders and the Chargers. Their position is remarkably strong. It is utterly fascinating to observe the Patriots' current standing. It's extraordinary, honestly. I will be candid. As a fan of the sports drama, I don't necessarily want the Patriots to immediately establish another prolonged dynasty. I understand that's not what Patriots fans want to hear, but I believe football is at its best when the outcome feels genuinely unpredictable. Even during the Chiefs' recent run, there was a palpable everyone versus the Chiefs sentiment. The Eagles defeating them in the Super Bowl felt like a monumental timeline resetting moment, a narrative refresh button. I argued before that Super Bowl that an Eagles victory would rejuvenate sports discourse. If the Chiefs had completed a three-peat, the conversation would have become monotonously centered on that achievement, potentially stifling broader debate. I want to savor this current period of uncertainty a while longer. A season where you can legitimately ask, could the Patriots win? The Bills? The Eagles? The Bears? The Rams? I relish that ambiguity. I don't want to return to a state of assumed inevitability, where it's accepted that no one can beat one particular team. I've always disliked the premature playoff declarations like, the winner of this Chiefs-Bills game will win the Super Bowl. Based on what? That presumption often proves false. I root for the drama, the tension, the moments of genuine surprise. I want to be kept guessing. My confidence lies in this. I do believe the Patriots will be a great team. I do believe Drake May will be a great quarterback. However, I am not prepared to anoint any franchise or player as the foundation of the next dynasty at this precise juncture. Nonetheless, it is undeniably intriguing to witness the early tremors of a potential power shift. You're getting a slight preview of how the dynamics on a show like First Things First, and by extension, the broader media landscape, can realign. You see fewer metaphorical banners celebrating one team's inevitability and more symbolic doors opening to new possibilities. But these are simply my personal reflections and observations on the evolving narrative. I would absolutely be delighted to hear your own. What are your thoughts on the New England Patriots' trajectory? Is discussion of a new dynasty already premature, or is it a logical projection? Please share your viewpoints in the comment section below. I make it a point to read every single comment that is posted, so whether you are in full agreement with me or you fundamentally disagree, I want to hear from you. Let's ignite some engaging discussions. Let's engage in some spirited debates. But ultimately, let's simply enjoy the experience and have a great time. Please do consider subscribing to the channel. We are in the process of cultivating a truly wonderful community here, and I would absolutely be thrilled to have you as a part of it. My goal is to build something that we all feel a genuine connection to, something that we are truly enthusiastic and proud to be involved with. And I believe we are making significant progress toward achieving that objective. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it genuinely and substantially assists with visibility within the platform's algorithm. Thank you so very much for your time and engagement.